Amen.
Thank you so much, Mr. Attorney. I believe it's time to open reasonable opportunity for the public to be heard.
Yes, Madam Chair.
All right, I have a couple of cards. When I call your names, please come to the podium. State your name and your address for the records. You have 2 minutes to speak. Kenneth Kilpatrick.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. I'm speaking on a public item, a public hearing item. Is that okay?
Sorry, so no, it's not.
Okay.
But it seems like you filled out the wrong card.
Yeah, I filled out, I put the,
Okay, so you can sit tight, and then I will get back to you. Arlette Adams. Arlette. Can someone give Mr. Kilpatrick the right card?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, welcome.
My name is Arlette Adams. I am with the Annie Coleman 14 Resident Council, 2455 Northwest 46th Street, Miami, Florida.
Go ahead, ma'am, you have 2 minutes. And then you're speaking on 3E.
Yes, ma'am. On the CBAs for these redevelopment with the public housing properties, we as residents feel like we're not getting the proper information, we're not having appropriate time to have input. Community benefits agreements are being crafted without the input from the community and the residents. So many residents have no idea what is going on, especially at Annie Coleman 15. There was a brief meeting that maybe less than 5 residents attended at that time. The cone was lifted, it was put back, there was really no discussion. And we just like to ask, moving forward, that we're able to have more input in the community benefits agreements, that residents, the HCD works to really and truly inform and engage residents in this process. And also we're asking for greater oversight and accountabilities of these community benefits agreements, because we get them and no one follows them to ensure that we receive the things that are promised. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to speak? Seeing no one approaching, reasonable opportunity is now closed. Mr. Attorney, have there been any changes in today's agenda?
As noted on your changes sheet, there was a supplement added to your official agenda for item 3B. Other than those changes, a motion to set the agenda is in order.
We have a second? Okay. All in favor of setting the agenda, say aye. Any opposed? All right, the agenda is set. Now, aside from 1G1, do my colleagues want to bifurcate any of the items? I know I'm going to bifurcate 3B. Anyone else?
3B is the one I want to
3B?
bifurcate.
Okay, all right. Anyone else?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
3C.
3C. Anyone else? All right, seeing no one, do we have a motion for the balance
So
of the
moved.
agenda?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right, and Mr. Attorney, is it time now to open public hearing? Because we have one public hearing item. Would you like to read it first?
Yes, Madam Chair. I'll read the title as quickly as I can, and then you can open up the public hearing. Item 1G1 is a resolution approving after a public hearing the filing of substantial amendments to fiscal years 2016, 2019, and 2021 and 2025 action plans and the corresponding fiscal year 2013, 2017 as extended through fiscal year 2019, fiscal year 2020 through 2024, and fiscal year 2025 through 2029 consolidated plans in order to recapture $1,132,820 and 78 cents of community development block grant funds, $150,000 of home investment partnership funds, and $3,535.28 of emergency solution grant funds, and the filing of substantial amendments to the fiscal year 2009 and 2010 action plans and corresponding fiscal year 2008 through 2012 consolidated plan in order to change the activity for the Florida City Village Phase 2 project from rental to homeownership.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. So now, public hearing is now open. I only have one card. I have you, Mr. Kilpatrick. You want to come back? Kenneth Kilpatrick.
Good afternoon again, Madam Chair. Ken Kilpatrick, Brownsville Civic Neighborhood Association, 5167 Northwest 29th Avenue, in support of item 3C. On behalf of the BCNA, we are pleased to support the development of Andy Coleman 15 with what we consider to be a pioneering community benefit that will set aside a minority portion of the net operating cash flow to finance the identification, designation, maintenance, repair, and restoration of historically and culturally significant sites throughout the Brownsville community. We view this partnership as a long-term strategy to preserve the rich heritage of Brownsville's most notable legends of the past and the historic venues that continue to stand in honor of the pioneering work of those legends. The project's planned commercial spaces will honor the current working class while offering a hand up to our neighbors who are less fortunate. We are a proud partner of this development, and we urge your favorable recommendation to the full board. Thank you.
Thank you. So it seems like you were in the right place at the beginning. All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Now, do any of the colleagues have questions about 1G1? Well, let's close the public hearing first. Anyone would like to say anything about 1G1 from the public? Seeing none. Public hearing on this item is now closed. Now, colleagues, do we have any questions? Anyone? All right. Yes, go ahead.
I'll mention something just for the record. So in my district, all of my housing is redevelopment because I don't have empty parcels. It's really a redevelopment and a reshuffling. I know because someone mentioned something about notice, so I'll mention this. When I did my first one, there was some pushback as to when we could have meetings. So the first RFP that I did in my district, I actually baked into the RFP that we would have public meetings throughout the cone of silence. You can have meetings in the cone of silence if they're publicly noticed sunshine meetings. So this idea that you can't be talking to the public about what is going to happen at a site, I have found to be concerning. It takes a lot of work, I will tell you. I mean, we've had meetings. The way that we've done it in our district is we have meetings before the RFP goes out, after the RFP goes out, when people submit. So every step of the way, we have public meetings in person and virtual. It's a lot of meetings. You all pick and choose whatever you want to do. But what I have found over the last 5 years doing it this way is, you know, these are people's homes, and a lot of them have lived there a very, very long time. And I think our staff does an amazing job. You know, we have our little road team that does all of these meetings, and they're wonderful. But sometimes they miss one meeting, you know, and then they catch the other one. So the good thing about doing a bunch of these is if they didn't catch the first wave, they'll catch the second wave or like the third wave, and you limit the. There is an inherent mistrust in government, especially when it comes to housing. You kind of limit all that weirdness that goes associated with that when people know that, well, if you just give it 2 more months or something, you're going to have like another public meeting that you can attend. And then we record them too. So that makes it easier for staff to send it to them. So you can do it. It just has to be sunshined and it has to be noticed. I put it in the RFPs. You don't have to put it in the RFPs, but obviously it's easier if you put it in the RFPs because that way the developers that respond to it know that this is part of the deal, is that they're going to be doing these public meetings. So my 2 cents, Madam Chair, I think it works. My staff, like everyone, it's a lot of work, but I have found it to be very fruitful in terms of really communicating to folks as to what's going to happen in their area. And you can do it just for residents. Some of them were just for residents, and some of them are for the larger public. So you get to decide. Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy to move the item.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Yeah.
All right. So, Mr. Attorney, we need a voice vote. Madam Clerk.
Madam Chairman. Thank you. Madam Chairwoman, just want the record to reflect that I would like to take prime sponsorship of 1G1.
All right. Let that be reflected here. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Commissioner Regalado,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Gonzalez,
For.
Chairwoman Bastian.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right.
Madam Chair, on item 1G1, also on 3A and 3E, the county administration is looking for those items to be advanced to the next BCC.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Now we have the bifurcated items. Let's start with 3C. Before I let Vicky speak, let me welcome you to the committee because this is your first meeting.
Thank you so much. Madam
I'd like to join my voice with those of my colleagues who welcome you.
Thank you so much. So I had a question, Madam Chair. So I noticed that there is $300,000 that's going to be provided for 11 households with rental assistance for a 6-month period. I always get worried about what happens after the 6-month period. Are these families that will be able to stabilize and get moving and not require any further assistance? Because that's always a concern of mine in particular, that people would be given some assistance and then maybe fall off. So
I know Nathan is here.
Nathan Kogan, Director, Housing and Community Development. I'm here with Alyssa Plancher, who runs our Community Development section. So Assistant Director Plancher will field that question.
thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. So our Community Development Division works in partnership with the lead agency for the Continuum of Care, which is the Miami-Dade County Homeless Trust, to make any decisions as to how we expend funds and our priority programs for ending homelessness in the community. Rapid rehousing is an evidence-based permanent housing intervention that often reflects like a 85% success rate when you look at like HUD data. And so that essentially allows people to quickly exit homelessness, become housed. They get security deposit, utility assistance, rental assistance. The point of the program is to stabilize the household so they can obtain employment, and then the program sunsets. So what makes it permanent is that they sign their lease independently and the subsidy isn't tied to them as the tenant. As it would like another type of permanent housing intervention with somebody with higher acuity of needs. So that it is an evidence-based practice that has been successful nationally.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? Commissioner Regalado?
Yes, I'll jump in. So that is true of all these programs. I'll speak specifically about the Chapman Partnership. So I was honored to serve on the board of the Chapman Partnership in my prior life as a school board member, and I do a lot of work with Chapman. All the providers in the homeless continuum are different. Chapman is considered not only the housing arm for children and families, but also the strictest in terms of asking individuals to participate in programming. So if you live at Chapman, you wake up at 5:30, you're either working or you're working on working, right? Your kids are going to school. There's a lot of rules. And they're usually employed while at Chapman. So I agree with you. Sometimes it's concerning when you see this, but in terms of Chapman, I feel very safe in that who is getting this placement is already employed, got their act together, their kids are in school. They've probably been at Chapman for like a year and a half, right? I was recently at Chapman South, and one of the things that they're doing is they're also helping men who are part of the foster system. So they've also kind of taken that on too. So there's like some single men there that are kicked out of foster like at 18. And obviously Casa Familia and other places do that kind of work too. But this one is a very successful program, and Chapman is over 87%. Like if you go through the Chapman program, you won't be homeless. And what I could tell you is now more than ever, they're really focusing on getting people the jobs. And actually, something that we share, the Underline has a partnership with Chapman. So some of the employees that work at the Underline are Chapman residents. So anyone that's listening, if you want to hire our Chapman partnership, folks, we're always looking to place them in other places. So I'm happy to move the item, Madam Chair.
Second.
Yes. Did someone else?
Yep.
A second, okay. So one thing I'd like to add, of course, there are caseworkers there, always willing and ready to assess these families and to make sure that they are sustainable and that they have the services that they need. That was a very good comment, Commissioner. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, 3C passed. Now, 3B, Commissioner Regalado, I'll start with you.
Yes, I found this item interesting, and I just wanted to ask some questions of Nathan because speaking of the Chapman Partnership and the homeless trust, there's a lot of organizations like Chapman, like Hermanos de la Calle, like the Homeless Trust, that are constantly looking for properties. And I know that there's CBOs that are also constantly looking for properties. And I whenever we do these home sales, I get a little concerned because when we go back and look at when these houses get flipped, they move really quickly. So that's my first question, Nathan. I know that there's limits on when they can resell these homes. So what is it on these? Because sometimes I get a little concerned about how quickly, right? So they come in, they buy a home, and then how quickly they can like turn it around and make a profit.
So we have through the chair, we have a 20-year covenant.
So this one's 20.
That's correct. Now, that doesn't mean that if they sell it within 10 years or 5 years, they can't realize a small profit. There's an escalating scale.
Right.
So as time progresses, the more equity they built into it. And of course, if they sell within the 20-year period, they also have to sell to an income-qualified resident or homeowner.
Right. So just to the members of the board, I think that we're missing out on a tremendous opportunity to help projects that we're already funding with these properties. I think that there's a lot of CBOs that are doing housing in some way or another, and they come to us for money so they can buy property, but we're selling property. Right? So just something to think about as we try to solve our CBO problem, because specifically when we talk about Lotus, Chapman, Hermanos de la Calle, right? A lot of the folks who do the homeless work, this would be a tremendous opportunity. So just putting it out there because, I think this is a practice that the county has had for a very long time, But I think it's about time we start rethinking those practices and starting to kind of align our assets with the entities that we want to provide. It's not just about money. Sometimes it's about opportunity. So I don't know if would there be a would there be a restriction to selling these to like a nonprofit, Nathan? Like, could you do it?
Well, for this, we're operating under a previous resolution that directed the department to use county-owned property to sell for, up to 120, 140% AMI. That's the program that's under.
But it was different times, Nathan.
Correct.
My point, folks, is that it was different times. So I think, right now, it's hard to get a loan, it's hard to buy a house, it's hard to keep a house. I would love to see the data on how long people keep houses. And what I'm trying to tell you all is I think that there's a tremendous opportunity to help some of the CBOs that are asking us for funding with these properties. So could we, if I get it, it's a board, this always happens to our loving directors. They're like, but we're doing what the BCC told us to do. I get it. But could the BCC change that? Could we kind of reshuffle this?
Well, I think it's always a matter of policy. So yes, that can be something that could be amended, just like any policy discussion. I think there's a little more information I would be happy to share, perhaps in a different format, the things that we are looking at as a department, looking at our entire inventory, because we do have scattered sites that some are public housing, some are just simple income restricted, where we're looking at home ownership opportunities. So there's another layer to this that could warrant, if there's going to be a policy discussion, a little more information of what we're looking at within the department.
Would you be heartbroken if I hijacked this?
Yes. Yes. Truthfully, yes. We've been actively pursuing and planning these lots. We do have several designs that are done. We're going through permitting on many of them. We opened up our RFP for pre-qualified developers. Again, this is under that resolution that was passed in 2023. So we're actively pursuing now.
But I'm not saying I'm not saying not to build them, Nathan. I'm just saying like who the owner would be. Because I just think like if the owner were an entity, right, that could provide the housing to someone at that income bracket or even better, lower, if this could go more towards the missing middle. 120, I mean, we all know what 120 AMI looks like. 120 AMI is a very high AMI. When we've talked about it, what the issues that we have is people who are at 65, people who are at 45 AMI, right? Those are the people that we can't find housing for. So my question is, if we could take these, we could still build them. We would still build them. But what I'm saying is, if we could, instead of selling them to one family and help one family, if we could give it to a CBO that's doing this work, and they could then use it to help people to bridge that missing middle gap, right? That's... No, throw a monkey wrench in for it, Nathan.
Look, we've looked at how to get people in a home. We've looked at AMIs, and of course, at the lower AMIs, it becomes very difficult. We do have products. We have down payment assistance. We have second soft mortgages. MDEET also has a down payment assistance, and we kind of combine those. So the AMIs are not necessarily at 120% AMI. That's the maximum threshold. We do permit lower AMIs, and we encourage lower AMIs, but it gets to a point where it may be inappropriate, where if the AMI is that low, does it become a cost burden to carry that property for the homeowner? But again, we feel strongly about this program. We've completed our first 2 homes. We have another 8 homes that are currently under construction. But I think there'll be ample opportunity to further look at policy as more properties come online. Because again, we'll be back in front of you requesting these properties as well. But we're committed to continuing this program.
Okay, colleagues, I'm just saying again, I'm not going to hijack it. I'm not going to Nathan's. Happy to support him. But I think when the board set this policy, the economic situation was very different. And once you look at the investment that we make all in, the value of the property, the assistance with the down payment. Once you look at how much we're all in, it's a lot of money, and to help, one family. Where I think if we were a little bit more dynamic about this, we could help a lot more people. And I think that it would be an opportunity for CBOs and folks that are doing housing for us to help those organizations kind of bridge that gap and do that work.
Thank you, Commissioner Regalado. Vice Chair Maggie?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and piggybacking off Commissioner Regalado's questions, I too believe that many of these lots should be placed with CBOs to assist them in this economic downturn. My question now, though, is what is the combined value of these 44 properties that you're seeking to put into this program?
Commissioner, I don't have that information.
Okay. And do we have a developer already chosen to build these homes on these lots, or is there a process you're going to go through with the pool?
So this will be a process with the pool in a round-robin fashion.
Right. And my third question is, I'm looking at the one property that's in District 9, and I've been conversing with CBOs in the district about gun violence, about food deserts, and domestic violence. And ironically, the parcel that I'm looking at here is also the parcel that I've had conversations with some of these families getting together in Homestead and creating a safe space. I don't want to hold up your item, but what I would like to do is amend your item to take this parcel 1078130090250 out for the time being, so that I can continue the conversations I'm having with those organizations that provide safe space to families who've been affected by gun violence and domestic violence victims and the sort. So listen, what you're trying to do is it's really good. I think it sends a shockwave through the entire development industry, that the county is now getting involved and acting as a developer, right? And we know that the county sometimes spends more money in creating products that will benefit the people. My hat's off to you. But again, I know how important this is to you, and I want to help you. But at the same time, help me continue the conversations with those not-for-profits I'm working with in the district, who are trying to help the people who are not included into the missing middle, but they never ever made the middle, because their AMIs are somewhere around the 60%, 65%, because of the district that I represent. So when we say 120% AMI, right, I'm tempted to ask you, what is the 120 AMI here in the county versus the 60% AMI? Because I can tell you, the folk that I represent, the median income in that area is somewhere around $35,000, $40,000. And I'm sure even at 120% AMI or 110% AMI, it'll block us out. It'll block my folk in my district out. So what is 120 AMI in Miami-Dade County?
So again, it's based upon the size of the family.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go for a family of 4. 120% AMI is 148,000.
And how much you're if we were looking at a regular 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom that you're going to build for a family of 4?
So pursuant to code, we are limited to the maximum sales price permitted by HUD for Miami-Dade County. That currently is $451,000. That's not to say that we would necessarily sell them at $451, because we are not looking, profit is not our motivation. We just recently sold 2 in District 8, and those were $398,000. They were 4-bedroom. We had 2 units, each of them had 4 bedrooms. Again, our maximum sales price would be $451 at this time.
Anything else, Vice Chair? Thank you. All right, so I think I have an answer for you, because some of the questions that you raise, I'm raising some of the same questions, but before I give my remarks, Commissioner?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So given what we heard from both Commissioner Regalado and Commissioner McGee, it appears to me that we need some data. I'd love to see which CBOs are doing this housing work. As you all know, it's been a passion of mine as well. And, given the fact that I don't know what CBOs are doing housing now and whether or not they would benefit, is there an interest on their part to participate in somewhat of a new program, which I don't disagree at all, that we're in a very different era, and housing affordability is the #1 concern in our county and across the state. So it makes sense that we're sitting here with parcels of land and we're building one home. It's curious, not only to the point that you're making, Vice Chairman, about the AMI, because very few of, I think, many families are making $148,000. That is unbelievably high. Most families of 4 are somewhere in the range of $65,000 to $85,000. That's what's making it so unaffordable. And these prices that we just heard are highly unaffordable for families that are making very low monies. And many of them have children who are now placed at risk. So if we all agree that we need safe and sustainable housing for all families, then we probably need the data that both Commissioner Regalado and Vice Chair McGee have talked about today. I think it'd be very helpful for us. I mean, I agree that I don't know that I'd want to necessarily interrupt this. I agree that maybe amending the one parcel so you can continue your conversations makes sense. But certainly, moving forward, we have to probably do things differently. So these are my comments. And if we could get those numbers, it would be very helpful for me about the CBOs that Commissioner Regalado spoke about and whether or not they are prepared to take on some of these parcels. I think that's important to know as well.
Thank you so much. Did you want to say something?
Yes, if I may, through the chair, and I
ahead.
just want to point out, these lots, these are all single-family lots that only permit single-family. We do have our workforce housing ordinance that could allow, in some cases, a duplex on a single-family lot. So we agree, if it's a multifamily lot, we don't want to, we want to get as many units as possible. But again, these are single-family lots.
Commissioner Regalado.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so my staff gave me some of the notes on this item, and originally when this was passed in 2023, the amount that was put in was 30 million over 5 years for the construction. So that's just the construction, right? So that's what I'm saying. I think if we look at the value of the lots, how much we're spending to build the house, and then what we could potentially be giving for down payment, you start adding that up at a price point of, and listen, I understand, Nathan, you're gonna try to lower that as much as possible, but I just feel you're marshaling a lot of resources to help one family. And then the question is, what about everybody else, right? So I think, and in this same agenda, we have an item from the Chapman Partnership where we're helping them with the rent for a house. So couldn't you, right? So couldn't we give Chapman a house, right? And then if we gave Chapman a house, they could use it every 6 months for a different family. And then we wouldn't have to pay them the rent, And then we could figure out, what to do with that money. So that's what I'm saying when I'm talking about partnering with CBOs. And then we would know that CBO would own it for 20 years and use it for single-family housing. And so I think that in this economy, with the issues that we have, I don't think that this should be a priority at this price point. I think that we should really figure out, how the CBOs could work with this program, it doesn't stop us from building them. And maybe you give it to a CBO for 15 years, or 10 years, and then it comes back to the county. They have to take care of it, and then we sell it. Maybe we do both, Nathan, right? Maybe we do both. Maybe we give it to a CBO for 10 or 15 years so that they could use it for housing and they have to maintain it. And then when that's done, we sell it and we actually help someone become a homeowner, right? So I think where we're limiting ourselves is thinking we could do like the one thing. My concern is in this market with these homes, people we don't live in a place where people are going to live in this house for 20 years. So what are they going to do? Just to flip it in 5 years? Yeah, they're going to pay us back, whatever. But unfortunately, I think at these price points, it just doesn't make sense. So I don't know if you guys want to defer it, and we'll come back to it. But again,
Thank you. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I have to say that I agree. I agree with Commissioner Lopez. I think the conversation is going into a really good place. But I agree with Commissioner Lopez. I would love to second the motion instructing the administration to give us a report on those actual numbers, because, with a lot of the stuff that Commissioner Regalado has pointed to, specifically with the parcel that Commissioner McGee is talking about, I think that you're spot on. I think if we were able to look at that data and look at those numbers and actually identify whether some of these CBOs would even benefit from this, I mean, perhaps to Commissioner Regalado's point, we can push some policy out here that can help. Now, I'm not sure if the board or if this committee would like to defer. That would be up to the chair.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Gonzalez. And then some of your comments are valid, and then they are part of my concerns with this item, with moving this item today, Nathan. You do know that I support you. I know for a fact that you and your staff, you are doing a phenomenal job. However, I think we need more information before moving this item. For one, you have two commissioners who are not on this committee, and then one of them has 30 parcels on this item, and he's not here. He's not here. My question to you is, I sponsored this item with pleasure, but we haven't discussed the 4 items that are from my district that are on this list, right? We have not discussed them, yes or no? Well, have you discussed any of the items with the commissioner from District 3 and District 8?
The individual lots?
Yes.
No, we haven't, because, again, this goes back to the previous resolution, which was, again, back in 2023, to take those properties. So we were working under that previous resolution, directing us to take all of those lots, those vacant lots, and start planning and developing for specific home ownership.
I do understand. I do understand that there was a previous resolution, but a lot has happened since. And then recently, have you had any conversation with any of the two commissioners who are not here regarding these lots?
Specifically on these lots.
So I think we need more information, and then based on what Commissioner Regalado expressed, and these are some of my concerns too, of all of our concerns about affordability. That's number one. Number two, as you know, I passed legislation for the missing middle. I mean, there are a lot of opportunities that exist, but in order for us or for folks to take advantage, you need to sit down with them. You need to sit down with them. So I want to defer this to no date certain, to give the administration, which I support, to give the administration time to meet with these commissioners. To meet with Vice Chair McGee, to meet with Commissioner Hardeman. He has 30 parcels from this list. I have 4. I'd like to talk to you more about this. As we speak right now, you don't know if my 4 are available. We don't. So I think that we need to defer this.
Second.
Yeah, all right.
Madam Chair, can I'm just, my one concern is, because we have Jimmy Morales, Chief Operating Officer, because we have a resolution in effect that directed the administration to do something. Nathan, I heard you say you're building 8 houses as we speak.
That's correct.
My concern with the deferral to no date certain is, at what point is the policy, if you all want to change it, going to get changed? Are we supposed to stop what we're doing? Trying to get it, because we don't want to be found to not be moving forward in some cases. I'm trying to get some direction.
Yes. So when I say it's up to you, Nathan. It's up to you. So you have not had any conversation with any of the commissioners. It's up to you.
So my recommendation on this, and notwithstanding a policy recommendation, This allows us, and this continues our development of these homes, regardless of whether you want to convert that to, under CBO, a rental to sale, and to have your different options. I don't think we should slow down on the construction. Again, right now we're operating under the previous resolution that requires us to use these lots for home ownership. Notwithstanding, that can change, but this allows us to continue to construct.
I understand. And then I'm not saying to stop the construction of the 4 that you mentioned. I'm not saying that. I'm not stating that.
Yep.
What I'm saying is that I think it is important for you to start a communication with some of the commissioners to decide, because Vice Chair McGee told you that one of these 2 parcels that are on this list is not available. You haven't talked to 2 of the commissioners who are not part of this committee, so you need time to talk to them. And I'm asking you to stop anything. Like I said, I support you. As you know, I've been advocating since my time on this dais. I've been advocating for affordable housing. We have an affordability crisis. We need this. We need constructions. We need new units. But at the same time, we have to be responsible and not to start something and then to realize that, Commissioner Hardeman has plans for all these parcels. Do you understand? Commissioner Regalado.
Yes, and Jimmy, I understand your point. And look, we always talk about this. It takes years for these things to go from an idea to a resolution to program, and so it's challenging. But I'm happy to volunteer. I will draft the reso changing this policy. I'm happy to do it. Quickest drafter, happy to do it. I promise you, Jimmy, we won't defer it for a long time. I'll get something. My understanding is that we have not scheduled committees for January, so I'm happy to draft to make sure that it runs tandem, right? When this comes, so if this, I'll bring it to February committee. And I'm happy to discuss it. I think we need to, I think if every member, the chair makes a great point about these properties are in different people's districts and they may have plans. That is true. The other point is, I think if you were to have all the members here and have a conversation about selling homes at $450,000, $485,000, $500,000, as opposed to an alternative, right, that would involve a CBO, I think you'll get the majority of the board saying that it would be a better investment, because like I'm saying, it's not just the cost of the value of the land, the building of it, but then the money that we're putting in to help that person purchase it. But by the time you're looking at it, one thing or another, the county's investment in these homes, even though it's part as HUD, all in is going to be $350, if not more, right? So that's a big investment for one family. That's a very big investment for one family that could turn around and flip that home in 5 years or 6 years, and keep some of that money and leave Miami-Dade County. And I think that given the constraints that we have, we might want to look at those parcels and really focus on providing something more dynamic.
We'll look into that. Thank you, Commissioner Regalado. So, like I said, did you want to say something, Vice Chair?
I just have one question, if it's okay with you.
It's like I said, Nathan, I don't want to lengthen this more than it needs to. And I know the constraints within which you're working, and I'm with you and work with you. But I think these conversations are important. Vice Chair McGee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To the director, is there an opportunity where the pool can be reopened? I do believe I read or heard somewhere there were about 4 people in the pool, 4 companies in the pool. How many people are in the pool? And if not as many as we would hope, is there a possibility we can reopen it?
Yes, we can open it biannually, and we're currently working with the other applicants in the pool to get them in. They've been submitting documents to demonstrate their capability.
All right, so anything else? Okay, all right. Last thing, okay?
Last thing on that, in tomorrow's appropriation committee, you will see a memo that has all of the folks that we add to these pools. The pools are always open. So we actually, the administration does a memo every like 4 to 5 months. NAMIDA does it, you know? So if you have folks, you can call procurement at any point and they can be added to the pool. And in tomorrow's meeting, you'll see all the folks that were added to all the different pools in the last 5 to 6 months.
Thank you,
Madam
Commissioner
Chair, you have our
Delgado.
commitment that we will reach out to all the commissioners who have properties in their district on this list.
Thank you, Chief, that's important. All in favor of the deferral, say aye.
And Madam Chair, just to clarify that the deferral is to no date certain.
No date certain for now. Thank you.
Madam Chair, sorry, I'd like to make a follow-up motion then to instruct the administration to get us the information that I requested, the CBOs that might be working in housing, and whether or not any of these parcels or any parcel in the county that we own would be amenable to them.
All right. All in favor?
Can I say something before we vote? Happy to support it, but reports take a long time, and they have to like get drafted, and they got to get approved at 20th floor, and they got to make their way down. My suggestion would be that at our next meeting of this committee, we have a presentation about all the CBOs that are interested in this work, and that way,
Perfect.
cut to the chase. Cut to the
I
chase.
will amend my motion to include that as opposed to a report.
Happy to support.
Because sooner rather than later.
Thank you so much. Commissioner
you, Madam Chair.
Gonzalez? Yeah, all right. Mr. Attorney?
I don't believe you voted on the motion. Yeah,
I believe it was just amended, though.
yeah, as amended.
As amended.
Thank you.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Mr. Attorney, is a motion to adjourn?
Yes, that is in order.
Anything else, colleagues? All right, all right. You're welcome.